The Great Neighborhood Adventure. It was the start of the summer holidays, and Ben, Sarah, and Jake had the entire day to themselves. The three friends lived on the same street, and they always hung out together. That day, they wanted to do something different, something exciting. "Let's go on an adventure," Ben suggested, as he sat on the front steps of his house, kicking a small pebble back and forth. "An adventure? Where?" Sarah asked, raising an eyebrow. Jake, who was always the most creative of the group, suddenly jumped up. "I know. Let's explore the old house at the end of the street." The old house. Sarah's eyes widened. Everyone in the neighborhood knew about the old, abandoned house. It had been empty for years, and some people said it was haunted. Ben looked at Sarah, then back at Jake. "I don't know, it's probably just a rundown house. But I guess we could check it out." Sarah hesitated. "Are you sure? What if we get into trouble?" "We won't. It's just an old house. We'll take a quick look and leave," Jake said, determined. "Come on, it'll be fun." After a bit more convincing, the three friends set off down the street, their hearts pounding with both excitement and nervousness. As they got closer to the house, it looked even bigger than they remembered. Its windows were cracked, the paint was peeling, and the front yard was overgrown with weeds. "Okay, we're here. Now what?" Ben asked, trying to sound calm, but his voice shook just a little. Jake took a deep breath. "Let's just go inside for a minute. If it's too creepy, we can leave right away." Sarah nodded, trying to look brave. "All right. Just for a minute." They approached the front door, which was slightly open. It creaked as they pushed it wider, and a gust of dusty air blew out at them. Inside, the house was dark and smelled old, like it hadn't been touched in years. "Wow, this place is kinda cool," Ben said, surprised by how big the rooms were.
"Yeah,
but it's also super creepy," Sarah whispered. As they explored, they found old furniture covered in dust and cobwebs. The walls were lined with faded pictures of people they didn't recognize. "Look at this," Jake called from the living room. He had found an old, wooden chest sitting in the corner. It was locked. "Do you think there's treasure inside?" Ben joked. "I don't know, but I want to find out," Jake said, determined to open it. He tried pulling at the lock, but it wouldn't budge. "Maybe we shouldn't mess with it," Sarah said, feeling uneasy. But before they could decide what to do next, they heard a noise. It was soft at first, like the creaking of floorboards, but then it got louder, like footsteps coming from upstairs. All three of them froze. "Did you hear that?" Ben whispered, his eyes wide. Sarah nodded, her heart racing. "We should leave, now." Jake, usually the brave one, looked just as scared.
"Yeah,
"Let's go." They quickly ran for the door, their footsteps echoing through the house. Just as they reached the front porch, they heard the sound again, footsteps, coming faster this time. "Go, go, go," Jake shouted, and they all sprinted down the street, not stopping until they were back in front of Ben's house, panting and laughing at the same time. "What was that?" Sarah gasped, trying to catch her breath. "I don't know, but that was crazy," Ben said, grinning. Jake, still breathing heavily, looked back at the old house in the distance. I guess we'll never know, but that was definitely an adventure. Moral of the story. Sometimes, the thrill of adventure lies not in what you find, but in the journey itself. Facing fears and having fun with friends can make any day unforgettable. This story allows learners to practice listening to spoken English in a fun and relatable way. The dialogue includes expressions of curiosity, fear, and excitement, which helps learners understand emotions and conversational tones in English. The Hidden Treasure of Green Valley. One sunny afternoon, Emma, Jack, and Lily, three best friends, decided to explore the mysterious Green Valley. It was a place everyone in town talked about but few dared to visit. People said that long ago, pirates hid a great treasure somewhere in the valley. Of course, nobody had ever found it. But for these three adventurous kids, that made it the perfect challenge. We'll be the first to find it, Jack said confidently, as they packed their bags with snacks, water, and a map they had drawn themselves. Emma was a little more cautious. Are we sure about this? What if there are dangers in the valley? Lily, always the brave one, laughed. Come on, Emma, where's your sense of adventure? If there's treasure, it's worth the risk. The three friends set off, walking along the path that led out of their small village and into the vast, green valley. As they walked, the trees grew taller, the shadows longer, and the sounds of nature louder. Birds chirped above them, and leaves crunched under their feet. Look! Jack pointed ahead. There's an old well. Maybe that's where the treasure is hidden. They rushed over to the well, peeking inside. It was dark and deep, and they could barely see the bottom. We need to find a rope if we want to explore down there, Emma suggested. Or maybe we should keep looking around, Lily added. I bet there are more clues nearby. They agreed to search the area first. As they wandered, they found an old, moss-covered stone with strange carvings on it. Jack knelt down and studied the carvings. It's a map. I think it's showing us where to go next. Excited, they followed the map, which led them deeper into the valley. They crossed a small stream, climbed over rocks, and finally came to a large, ancient tree. Its roots were twisted, and it had a hollow in the center that looked big enough for someone to crawl inside. I bet the treasure is hidden in there, Lily exclaimed. Jack nodded. Let's check it out. Emma, still feeling a bit nervous, hesitated but followed her friends to the tree. Jack climbed inside the hollow first, using a flashlight to see in the dark space. Suddenly, he shouted, I see something. Lily and Emma quickly climbed in after him, and there, in the hollow of the tree, was an old wooden chest. It was covered in dust and cobwebs, but it looked like it hadn't been touched in years. We found it, Lily cried, her eyes wide with excitement. But wait, Emma said, how do we open it? Jack pulled out a small metal tool from his backpack. I brought this just in case, he said with a grin. After a few minutes of trying, he finally managed to unlock the chest. Inside, they found not gold coins or jewels, but old letters and maps, all from the time of the pirates. This must be the real treasure, Jack said, holding up one of the letters. It's the story of the pirates who lived here long ago. Lily was disappointed at first. I thought there would be gold. Emma smiled. This is even better. We've discovered something nobody else has. These letters are part of history. Jack nodded. We should take them back to the village. Maybe the museum will want to display them. The three friends carefully packed up the letters and maps, knowing they had found something special. As they left the valley and headed back home, they realized that the adventure had been about more than just finding treasure. It had been about working together, being brave, and discovering something new. The greatest treasure is not always gold or jewels. Sometimes, the real treasure lies in the experiences we share and the memories we make along the way.